I'm Josh Condon with The Drive, and we are in New Hampshire with the Team O'Neill Rally School. We're going to learn offensive driving techniques. We're doing stuff like pit maneuvers, 180s forward and back, position to cover, and to top it all off, the guys from Sig Sauer are here. We're going to throw some guns in the mix, because why the hell not? So, clearly I have a lot to learn, and not a lot of time to learn it. The plan is to start with offensive and defensive driving on day 1, then move to firearms training on day 2. To cap it off, I'll try to put it all together with a fake mission combining both worlds, switching as best I can between advanced driving techniques and engaging close and long-range targets with live fire, with the goal of escaping a hostile environment. It's a lot to take in. What we're about to do is actually 2 skills that are linked together. The first one's called position to cover. You might have seen it when people kind of parallel park in one skid in between 2 cars. That's essentially what we're doing on one end, and then we're turning around and we're flipping the car 180 degrees going forward. Essentially, if you see something in front of you and you need to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible, you don't have time to stop and do a 3-point turn. You need to go, flip the bitch basically, and get on your way.
If you're in a bad situation, the worst thing you can do is stop while someone is potentially shooting at you. Start doing a 3-point turn, whatever you might be doing. It's just not practical. You want to get in and out of these situations as quickly as possible. So a forward 180 is a reasonable option in that circumstance. And what you're going to do is let off the gas, get to a reasonable speed. You want to be doing 30-ish miles an hour. You're going to pull the handbrake aggressively. That's going to lock the rear tires, and then you're going to turn. And what will happen is the car will start to rotate around. Once it gets to 90 degrees or better, you're probably all right at that point. Put the handbrake back, put it into first gear, and drive back out of there. Hopefully you can do it within the confines of a 2-lane road, is really what we're looking for. So I'll show you what it looks like here. You're driving along, for whatever reason, you decide, bad things up ahead, let's get out of here. Handbrake, turn, first gear, and drive out of there. And you can tell immediately, okay, that was pretty low speed, but it's a hell of a lot faster than doing a 3-point turn. And this one, I'm gonna stay to the right side coming into this, okay. But this would be your handbrake, turn in.
And then you're counter steering?
Yeah, I'm counter steering with one hand, and I'm getting to the angle I want, and then I'm using the foot brake to stop me here.
Okay.
You know, so as if this was the parallel parking spot I want to end up in.
That's a lot to take in.
And then same thing, this is the forward 180. Handbrake, turn in, first gear and go. Got that down, let's try this. I let it rotate too much, I got a foot brake sooner. This one I got a handbrake turn, put the handbrake down and foot brake. I put the handbrake down when I got to the angle I wanted
before
and just
you were
foot
braking. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a lot of hand work because you're shifting and hand braking.
Right.
So coming in on the right, handbrake, turn in, keep the handbrake on. First gear, put it back. Because you let the handbrake lock up. See, the handbrake's still on even now.
Oh.
There you go. That's what happened to you. So let's try this one. Come in on the right before you get there. Handbrake straight, then turn. Then foot brake to a stop. Not bad. What you're doing is you're letting the handbrake lock up.
Yep.
And I wouldn't. I'd hold the button down, use the handbrake as much as you need to, put it back, and then shift.
Gotcha. Okay.
Handbrake and hold it hard. First gear. There you go.
Not in the box though.
No big deal, no big deal. Same thing, and you gotta really yank on it hard. Foot brake. Not bad, just a little late.
Yeah.
Hard. Turn it. First. There you go. Now we're talking, now we're talking. Handbrake hard, turn. Foot brake. Ooh, that was pretty good. Hard. Turn. First. Got that. There it is. That's the perfect 90. Yeah, you put everything back in foot brake before it was at the 90.
The forward 180 was a pretty simple skill to master, but position to cover had a lot of different elements. You engage the handbrake first to lock the wheels, then add steering input, but not as much as you might think. The car slides in the direction of steering more than you think it will, which means you have to start further to the opposite side than you'd expect. Also, while the handbrake helps induce the slide, you still have to use the foot brake to stop the car where you want it. Between the handbrake, steering input, looking through the turn, and using the foot brake, it took a number of tries to really get it dialed in. All right, so what happens if you come upon a situation and you don't have the time or the room to pull 180 degrees going forward? You got to put it in reverse, get the hell out of there as quickly as possible, and then you got to pull 180 degree going backwards.
Well, you're driving along down the road and up ahead you identify there's a bad situation, something you don't want to drive into. You need to get the heck out of there in a hurry. What you're going to do is come to a complete stop and put it into reverse. The first thing we see people mess up is they're still going forward and they're trying to get it into reverse, and it's grinding gears and all kinds of bad things are happening. So make sure, get a complete stop, select reverse, let the clutch out and start backing up. And we usually give it the count of 3. You're accelerating in reverse. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna let off the gas and turn the wheel. And you saw what I did there. I didn't turn the wheel. You need to cut the wheel. And what you're looking at to have happen here is get that steering input in. The front end's gonna pivot around, put it in first gear, get the wheel straight again, and drive out of it, hopefully going the opposite direction from where you came. So what it looks like, for whatever reason, we're driving around the road, don't like what's going on, so we decide, okay, we're gonna stop, get it into reverse, count of 3, 1, 2, 3, lift and turn, first gear and go. And you see I actually over rotated a little bit, but that's fine. It's a slippery road. So you've heard a lot of times people say lift, turn, shift and burn, because that kind of sticks in your head, lift, turn, shift and burn. So you get it going in reverse, lift and turn. Once it starts coming around pretty good, shift and go first gear again to get out of it. So here we'll come into this one more time. Coming in, we don't like what's going on, come to a full stop, get reverse. 1, 2, 3, lift and turn. First gear and go. So yeah, you're driving along, you took a turn down the wrong road, there's some big protest in front of you. Reverse, get it moving. 1, 2, 3, lift and turn. Shift and go. So you can do the shift sooner. Once it starts coming around, it's coming around.
Right.
Come up, you don't like what's in front of you, come to a stop, wave goodbye. 1, 2, 3, lift and turn, shift, go. You're right there, yeah. Drive along, right into the middle, come to a stop, don't like what's going on, get reverse, moving. 1, 2, 3, lift and turn, shift. There you go, there you go.
I don't think there's anything you can do in a car with a higher wow factor to effort ratio than a J-turn. Reverse 180s really are dead simple. Get some speed going backwards, simultaneously pop off the gas and crank the wheel, and the car does the rest. While it looks dramatic, it actually feels slow inside the car, so there's plenty of time to shift out of reverse and into first gear to keep the momentum going forward when the turn is complete.
All right, so what we're gonna be doing here is some high-speed backing. A lot of people wonder why we do it. Really, if you're driving along and you get into a situation where there's something going on in front of you that you don't like, trying to do a J-turn or one of these Hollywood moves might end poorly. Hey, if you're in a narrow alley or a narrow street, if there are people around you, you don't wanna be backing up and chucking it sideways. So most of the time, put it in reverse and actually drive for a ways in reverse, because you're just getting distance between yourself and a potential threat. What you're gonna find is driving backwards in a car can be pretty challenging. One is visibility. You can look over your shoulder. Okay, you're in a Ford Fiesta, the rear window's about this big. So we'll deal with that as you need to, but certainly looking over your shoulder is a good option. In a front wheel drive car, when you're going backwards, it's rear wheel drive with rear steering, which is very, very unstable. So you're gonna find immediately when you start backing up, if you're driving aggressively in this thing, it's gonna wanna spin around and the nose is gonna end up in front of you again, and you can get yourself into trouble that way. I'll just do it once, kind of with a combination of using the mirrors where it makes sense to, just so I can look over my shoulder if I need it. Let's do this thing. So front wheel drive, I'm going backwards. You'll see the nose wants to wash around an awful lot. There it is. Took me a second to find it, get around that one. But you can actually use that, if I got to get around this thing. Isn't too much. Give it a try.
High-speed driving in reverse is possibly the least sexy but most useful of these techniques, and it's more than a little disorienting. The front-engine, front-wheel drive Fiesta became a rear-engine, rear-wheel drive vehicle with rear steering, so the car constantly felt off balance, and what seemed like small inputs had massive effects. Plus, you're steering from what has essentially become the back seat, so visibility is hard to come by. You're constantly flopping around from side to side and switching from using the mirrors to looking out the windows. I got the hang of it after a while, but it never felt natural. All right, this one is going to be one of my absolute favorites. This is a pit maneuver. You may have seen this in a Bourne movie or on Cops for that matter. Essentially, you got a car in front of you, you want that guy won't stop, you need him to stop, you're going to help him along. Pull your car up alongside, you make contact in the rear, and you basically spin them out. And we're using these old Crown Vics. These things are bumpered up, they can take abuse. But apparently, from what I've been told, if you do it right, it's actually kind of a mellow thing. But we'll find out.
Driving along down the road, for whatever reason, we decided to take this joker out. We're gonna pull up next to him up yonder, match speeds, match bumpers, turn in and drive through. And we gone. So you see, there wasn't a big impact when we hit.
Right.
You know, that's what you're kind of trying to avoid.
So it's not like make contact and drive through in one motion. It's really make You're
Yeah.
trying to do it as quickly as possible, but it's
Quick,
too
but
discreet.
yeah, you make contact once you know you're good. Drive
Yeah.
through.
It didn't feel like much.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
All right, my turn. It felt weird, the idea that I was purposefully going to go hit another car, but I figured I'd get used to it.
So, this thing rear wheel drive. It's going to take a second to get up to speed.
Yeah.
Use left foot braking. Match speeds. Make contact. Drive through. Not bad. Hell yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, we're moving. So I decided to take him out, get up your speed, match speeds with him, make contact, slowly turn in, drive through.
So, you've definitely seen this maneuver on TV and in the movies, and unlike a lot of these other techniques, it's not something you can practice yourself in an empty parking lot. Surprisingly, in real time, the whole thing feels very low drama. Match speeds, make contact, steer through the other car. If you do it right, there's very little jolt and everything feels smooth and low impact. But it's a really fun move to practice, so we practiced it a lot. And I mean, a lot.
Yeah, you know what to do, up to speed, pick your spot, match his speed, make contact, drive through on the gas. Yep. See you later.
After a long day of practicing separate techniques, we decided to blow off some steam and put my new skills to the test with a car chase through Team O'Neill's sprawling mountain course. Wyatt hopped in the BMW E30 and I gave chase in the Fiesta, trying to match his car control maneuvers and not put the hatchback into a ditch or a tree. I'm pretty sure Wyatt could have walked away from me at any time, but he kept the chase interesting. Maybe he was just being polite, or maybe he realized that, first thing the next morning, a large and incredibly well-armed man was going to hand me a whole bunch of guns. Yep, the chief instructor for firearms giant Sig Sauer was coming by to give me a one-on-one tutorial on handguns and assault rifles.
Have you loaded mags before or anything?
No, not for years.
All right, so that's your follower. So I just place the round on the follower and I push down. All right.
Okay.
Again, flat end to flat end. The round end goes to the front. Okay. You'll be an old pro by the end of the day, and you'll have sore thumbs.
I haven't handled guns in years, and never with this level of expert instruction. Scott Reedy is an ex-Marine and ex-SWAT, and Sig Sauer's chief firearms instructor.
So facing down range, go ahead, bring your gun into your workspace. All right, go ahead, insert a magazine into the pistol. Rack the slide. Okay, do your chamber check, round in there, and holster. So low ready, the gun is at belt level here. I'm gonna bring the gun up, I'm gonna pick up my sights, eyes and ears, fire 1 round, okay? Excellent. Gun up to eye level. Touch the trigger. Okay. Smooth press. Okay. Excellent. And holster. All right, so I want you to, that red dot is lifting, and I want you to get the red dot back on where it needs to be for follow-up shots. Okay. So now we're gonna fire 3 shots on this one. All right, so again, low ready, come up for 3 shots.
Over the years, I've done enough stupid or high speed and stupid stuff in cars that yesterday felt like playtime. Today feels much more serious. And when I watch Scott put tight clusters of bullets just millimeters apart from one another as easily as I butter toast, it feels more intimidating still.
2 hits on each, reload 2 hits on each.
At first, my hands feel stupid with a gun in them, clumsy and confused and shaky. Scott tweaks my stance, but most importantly, he keeps reminding me that the gun is just a tool. To maintain safety and correct form, but not to overthink things. After a few hundred rounds, it starts to sink in. Eventually, I can pass for a novice.
So these are 30-round magazines. Similar, again, flat into the back of the magazine, and all I'm doing is just pressing straight down.
Rifles. Much more forgiving than pistols. Especially if you have a neat scope or a red laser sight. At this point, the morning's nerves have subsided, and laying on the ground gives you a nice solid base from which to work.
The further out you can grab this, the more stability you're gonna have.
Okay.
There you go. So put that dot right at the top of the pumpkin.
Yep.
Okay. All right, go ahead, take safety off. Nice, dead center on that.
Plus, my first shot with the scoped rifle was dead center from about 45 yards, so that felt good.
Give me another hit on that big one. Nice. All right, give me 1 hit each on both pumpkins. Good, small one right above it. Excellent. Good, safety on. And magazine out. 3 shots to the chest, eyes and ears. So come up and engage. Again, come up and engage for 3 rounds. One more time. So again, I can pick up that speed, and that aggressive stance really helps me with the recoil.
Gotcha. The assault rifle is much easier to handle than the pistol. The tricky part came when I had to switch from the rifle back to the handgun. All the necessary adjustments got log-jammed in my brain, and working with live rounds, I always had the nagging thought in the back of my mind that I didn't want to, kill someone by accident. You can see how slow and methodical I am through the transition. But by the end of the very crash course, handling every weapon at least felt natural, and I was hitting the close-range targets basically where I wanted to. For the time I've had to get ready, I'm as ready as I'm going to be for the final test. Here's the test. Team O'Neill and Sig Sauer set this up to incorporate most of what I've spent the last 2 days practicing. I have to make a high-speed cornering entrance into a closed-off firing range, bust through a wall of boxes, and slide into position to cover between 2 barriers. When I'm in position, I'll engage a target outside the passenger side window with the 9mm. At that point, I'll ditch the pistol, exit the car, grab the assault rifle from the back seat, and engage 2 targets over the hood of the car. When that gun runs out of ammunition, I'll ditch it for the scoped rifle, move to the back of the vehicle, and take out the target 45 yards downrange. And when that gun runs out of ammo, I'll make my escape, jumping into an available Subaru, pulling a J-turn, and getting the hell out of there. Sounds easy enough, right? I'd always heard the phrase, slow is smooth, smooth is fast in racing circles. I didn't realize it's practically a mantra in the shooting world, too. And heeding that was the key to getting through my fake mission. After 2 days, I wasn't exactly James Bond. But I did learn a bunch of cool skills. And more importantly, I learned that no matter what the problem looks like, the basic solution is the same. Stay calm, slow down, focus on the task at hand, but maintain situational awareness. Resolve issues as they come up, but don't get distracted by them. And whatever you do, keep moving towards the next objective. Also, cars and guns are just a ridiculously entertaining combination. Sound like fun? Well, after we made this video, Team O'Neill and Sig Sauer decided to put together a 2-day cars and guns course that anyone can take. So, the only question is, what the hell are you waiting for?